Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon for extra support. And I usually go about updates on Twitter X. Tomorrow, I will be publishing the Callisto Protocol episode. Just a quick reminder at the end of this week, so tomorrow, I will probably do put Midnight Suns on the 4K completed gameplay series so you can follow up. And I forgot to mention on the, I think I forgot to mention the channel update. I probably will eventually expand a little bit more because I already starting to get a lot of lists here, trying to be more categorized in the sense that probably horror games or any kind of a thing or action games, something like that. And I'm assuming with the introduction of the replaying Resident Evil 7 and all the upcoming Resident Evils, I will have to do a Resident Evil franchise kind of a playlist, kind of a tab here. But yeah, basically that's it. Just a quick reminder that we will have, I think later this month, I completely forgot the dates of the next Monster Hunter Wilds beta. There, I'm not sure regarding, for example, Night Train, Elden Ring Night Train, how it goes, if it's still open, the registration for the closed test thing. It's only for console, so I covered the first time when the things opened, and I stopped covering that much. But yeah, there are those little things that are still hanging on. But yeah, let's go to the news. Similarly, no official confirmation when the supposed event for RDNA 4 and FSR 4 and all that jazz will come up. Um, there was what they call here Meet the AMD held Meet the Experts webinar kind of a thing, which they discussed topics covered in CES 2025 keynote. And I think from what I gather here, the main question and interest regarding this webinar was where the hell is the RDNA 4 presentation. And again, we got the same kind of answers, which is from Donny Wologroski, which is AMD Senior Processor Technical Marketing Manager. Again, this is kind of I don't know what kind of title is this. They just keep inventing new titles. But yeah, he said, all I can say about the Radeon 9000, so RDNA 4, is that what we said is what we can say. We think it deserves its own time on the spotlight, and at CES, things can get kind of washed under a massive amount of information. So I think he was trying to reference the NVIDIA keynote, whatever. So stay tuned. It won't be a long time before you'll be hearing more about it in the near future. Again, we don't have not even, it's just near future, can be next week, can be, I don't know, in August, maybe later this year. Again, there is nothing here. Supposedly, they are still committed to first quarter launch, but we are getting very close on RTX 50 series launch. And again, if they're thinking they are going to steal the thunder for like the reviews embargoes for Nvidia, they are pretty mistaken. The only way of them doing something, I think it's starting. I think it's too late now. At least taking account of the the 50 series launch on the end of this month, because if they going to try and do something, probably, I don't know, the event before the embargo, like, I don't know, a couple of days, 3 days or so, people will talk about it. But the problem is Nvidia already committed to the launch of GPUs late late this late this month. Sorry, and we don't have any kind of information or even speculation except for the quarter one of this year, which can be in March. And by that, the people that really want to uh, buy a more higher end or something in along those lines already bought the GPUs. So I will assume they will not have the budget to buy a different GPU per se, even though RDNA 4 will not compete for the 5080s and above, of course. And they might have probably a good product that might compete at least between the 5070 Ti and 5070. And if they have a good product that might compete around that, especially on rasterized and again with upscaling introduced there, if they can manage to price it pretty well and assuming that it will compete in that performance range, they are missing a lot here. I think at least they, I don't know, I'm expecting probably they will leave it like 1 or 2 weeks after the reviews of the 5080, 5090, and the launch after those two GPUs are going out. So I don't know, maybe the market will calm down in terms of news of the 5080s and the 5090s, how good it is or how bad it is, and probably they will do, I don't know, the announcement there like almost mid-February, to try and catch up with the launch of the 5070 Ti and the 5070, because I think they are going to be launched in February. I completely forgot if they're going to be launched early or later in February. I think it's later February, by the end of February. But yeah, I think that there's some stuff that they again they screwed the pooch. They didn't even pick the interest on the RDNA4, except for people asking where the hell is this RDNA4 that is going to be so fantastic in terms of price to performance. There is no price, there is no performance shown, not even a hint. It's just about it's just a bunch of rumors going around here. The only confirmed thing, because there is no official information regarding that, is that it has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. It's the only thing that I heard. We got some supposed leaked performance slides here and there, but it's not official information, so we cannot officially can guide ourselves through that information. So it's a lot of speculation, and I don't think it is healthy for them to take this kind of position in terms of not announcing anything officially, or at least give it a proper date, so people have an expectation of when this is going to happen, and they will start forgetting, and they will just, okay, screw it. I think they are afraid, so probably people will prefer to pay a little bit extra for a 5070 Ti or some 5070, instead of just waiting for AMD to launch their 9070 XTs, even if it is a better price to performance, and they lose the opportunity to gain some market share. I think that's the main gist of the situation with AMD. I don't know why they didn't do anything. They don't have any kind of not even leverage. They don't have any kind of backbone in the sense that they cannot even adapt to the situation when it occurs. They just don't say anything, which is it's not good. But yeah, we got on the other side the RTX 50 series. We got a little bit more first-party information from NVIDIA, where we can extrapolate some information, and I think people again, if they went for the CES keynote from Mr. Jensen Wang, sorry, they thought they're again getting 4090 performance on the 5070. They're going to be very disappointed. Again, it seems that in terms comparing apples to apples, I think we're going to see something more in the lines of around 15% to 30%. Again, 30% of in terms of uplifts in performance is best case scenario is going to be just a handful of games, I will assume, that will really see some kind of uplift in performance. But yeah, we have a little bit more data regarding especially games that don't use DLSS. Again, DLSS by itself supposedly is just the upscaling technology, and I think here on the when they mention DLSS 4, it's with frame generation, again because of the huge difference in terms of supposedly performance, as they claim. Um, yeah, I watched a video where it seems that the upscaler really does improve a lot by itself, but I didn't see any kind of their testing. It was somebody with the Cyberpunk in the 5090. They were trying different settings, but they didn't even try to check pure rasterization performance on the GPU. But yeah, they did do 4K native with full path tracing, and I think it reached like 5 frames above the 4090, which is not that much, was hovering around 30 frames per second. So yeah, I'm not sure in terms of how good this will be. It's also interesting that they still are using Cyberpunk, which is a game. It's not that the fact that it's older; it's the fact that it's a game that it's using an engine that it's dead. There's not going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, any game that is going to be launched on the Red engine. So I find it a little bit odd that they are the last at least couple of years keep on going with this poster child of ray tracing performance with Red Engine. To a certain extent, it also tells us that Red Engine is a very good game engine if tweaked right. If it is as the proper engineering side of things, it shows us that game engine is pretty good. But yeah, it's a dead engine game because CD Projekt Red, because they don't have the capability of holding on to the engineering side of things on that game engine, just went to Unreal Engine again for several reasons. But yeah, they had a pretty excellent game engine there. But yeah, the they they took the direction in a different way. But what can we say? But yeah, it seems that we might see throughout the lineup maximum in pretty good case scenarios, at least for the 5090. And between the 5090 and the 4090, we will see probably a maximum of 30% on native ray tracing gaming scenarios. And again, the DLSS, usually they are using DLSS with the situation of just putting the MFG multi-frame generation just to bolster their numbers, inflate their numbers, which are basically fake because you're not comparing the same thing between one generation and another. You're just putting new technology to justify people to buy a new hardware. Um, Again, I think I mentioned this previously, which is I really do think that upscaling technology with this CNN or CCN algorithm that we're using now, it's the transformer kind of model, how they're going about the upscaling. It really does seem that it can achieve less VRAM, and that in terms of uplifting performance is a little bit better. It seems so. But yeah, other than that, I don't know how. I think the worst case scenario on this is the 5080, where we are seeing around 50% uplifting performance, which is not that good. The better one is the 5070 Ti also. And again, the comparisons, for example, between previous generation, I think they are not doing a good job on it. Again, it's they trying to compare previous generation wrongly in but then again, they are the ones that are choosing which products to compare, because again, people tend to forget the latest launch on the 40 series is the 4080 super. In the case of the 80 class cards, this is should be the comparison between the 5080 and the 4080 super, and not the 4080. Even though they can justify it by the original, so the OG 80 class card or the other 70 class card can be justified by that. They are trying to compare the original launch of that class card. But I think also in terms of how you can apply in terms of comparisons between the 5070 Ti should be the 4070 Ti Super, and the same thing goes for the 5070. They should be compared with the 4070 Super, mainly because the older models by itself they already run out of stock. There is not much here to sell, so you cannot compare directly because you cannot compare a product that it's already not in sale. It gives a skewed perception of the performance between those GPUs. But regardless of that, I think in terms of uplifting performance on the pure horsepower of the product itself, without hating with the technologies, I don't think we're going to see a huge uplift in performance. I'm going to see a less uplift between what happened between the 30 and the 40 series. Again, I think the 50 series is kind of upgraded an upgraded technology regarding the 40 series, so there is no revolutionary thing around here. The only thing that they managed to say that it's a new revolutionary thing is the technology part, so the software part, which is the introduction of MFG and the DLSS and how the algorithms work in a different way. Because in terms of even though hardware specs, there is some uplifts, especially on the 5090 as an L product is easier to compare. In terms of the specs themselves, in average, I think the 5090 on sheet appears to be 33% better in terms of numbers regarding the 4090, but I'm not sure if we're going to see 33% overall or on average in terms of performance using the same kind of software per se. This is discounting MFG. But yeah, other than that, this is basically what we might count around here. Again, I think the worst buy will be the 5080. Again, maintains the same VRAM, and if you start trying to pull the GPU on the same kind of 4K settings, you will not see huge amounts of uplift in terms of performance because again, it has basically the same specs. Not much is can be distinguished, especially I think between the 4080 Super and the 5080. Again, even though it got faster memory, I think it's one of the things that might induce a little bit better performance because even if you saturate the VRAM, the fact that the memory is quicker, they can drain can get rid or clear up a little bit the VRAM that it's needed for the processing thing a little bit faster. So, but yeah, as you can see here, the 5090, I think this is with for this one 4K max settings. So supposedly it's not even with ray tracing, I suppose. Yeah, you don't see a huge amount of good frame rates improvements here, below 50 frames per second, which is not good. And of course, then they just put the DLSS on and all of the things here, ray tracing to reach the stupid numbers that they are reaching there. Yeah, that's why is because of this kind of graphs that I say that we might not see like huge amounts of performance, even taking into account that it has more cores, like 33% more cores, 43% more VRAM, 33% more memory bus, and consumes a little bit more power. That's why there is going to be, I don't know. That's why I think they're trying to justify the $2,000 price. It's because in terms of the spec sheet, it's 33% more, so the price can get a little bit more expensive, around about the 33% in terms of price. Again, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to end. That's why I always tell people never pre-order. Don't sell your GPU in this case. If you're playing on maybe buying the 50 series or even the RDNA 4, don't sell anything until we get better notion of what exactly these products can do for you in your use case scenario. Usually, I always catch up with Hardware Unboxed and Gamers Nexus on their own reviews, the more detailed reviews when they go about even price performance regarding the what we already have on the market and all that jazz. I always wait for them at least to have a better sense of what the product can do. But yeah, other than that, just don't buy into the hype of what Nvidia is trying to do here because I think if you're going for that, you're going to be disappointed. We got also a little bit more on industry, more layoffs from Microsoft, which is always great, I suppose. Which again, the layoffs will impact sales, security, and gaming divisions. Again, no specific number has been disclosed. And yeah, as a reminder, 1 year ago, give or take, Phil Spencer announced that the company will lay off almost 2,000 workers, which drive the closure of at least 4 studios. Again, this is from the blowback that the company had to give after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. After that, like in January, they just start laying off and closing studios because again, trying to justify an acquisition of $70 billion, it's not always easy. And then later that year, September, there were another round of layoffs, resulting around 650 more employees losing their position in gaming division. Again, in overall scheme of things, trying to cut or trim the fat out of the company. Again, regardless of what the company does, when the company does some acquisitions, there are always going to be duplicated roles, and it sometimes takes couple of months for them to figure out which of the duplicated people that are on the same role are the better one for the job. But yeah, and the fact that again that there is a lot of dead weight on these gaming studios. Some of it is the corporate structure itself. It tends to be always a little bit bloated than it needs to be. And on the gaming company, we're seeing a lot of rumors here and there that there is a lot of dead weight of there is developers that don't know what the hell they are doing there. They don't even know to differentiate the right click and the left click on the mouse. Basically, some of them are. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them are activists by itself. So they try to justify the position that they have by not having any kind of technical skills and trying to revolutionize the workplace there to a certain extent. But yeah, this is going to continue to happen until they'll start putting good products, and those good products start to sell. Then they can leverage a little bit the bloat that they can have on the company. And until then, especially with Microsoft and Xbox and specifically, the it's always been said that the Game Pass system that they have, it's not going to help them in the long run when they're trying to be the Netflix of games. It's not going well for them because, to a certain extent, for them to keep on going on having new content on that subscription service, or you need to charge huge amounts of money for the monthly fee, or you start getting in the needs of having infinite growth of user base, which is impossible to do. And yeah, then you start falling then to justify the high prices and the fact that the budgets are inflated like shit. You start needing to justify to put more stuff there to try to justify the price of the services. And because the more product you put in, it costs more to make that product. Again, it's a vicious cycle of burning down the service itself. I don't think, and the fact that you don't own anything in the sense that it's kind of a limited time deal where you can play the game. You have a certain amount of time to play that game. Again, it's a shit show of a service for the company itself, but it can be considered a good deal for the consumer because for a very good monthly fee, they can have access to a huge library of games and play them as they please. And yeah, I think, but it in the long term, it doesn't work that well. I think the only way to work that well is to have you have to deflate the production budget of the games that you are putting on that service because when you start putting, for example, what they did with the Call of Duties and all that jazz they are putting there on day one on Game Pass, you just lose potential direct sales from that game itself. You lose immediately at least $60 to $70, depending on the edition that can be sold there on your own platform, and then you might try to gain them through the cosmetic stuff there, but then you start degrading the game itself to try to recoup some of the money. Again, you enter again on that cycle there. But yeah, on the other front, we got also Ubisoft. It seems that we might starting to see the crumbling of Ubisoft as we know per se, because supposedly there's going to be there is in process some kind of talks between the founding family members and Tencent, probably considering a new venture using some of the Ubisoft assets. I think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans happening there if this is true. Um, it seems that they are like secretive talks. It seems they are basically at this point supposedly evaluating which assets to include in this new venture and their valuation. So I don't know. By the fact that probably Assassin's Creed is still a good property, maybe they will need to devaluate that property or something like that. Might see, for example, if Tencent is a smart company and taking into account this is what's happening, Maybe they will take like Splinter Cell or all the Tom Clancy IPs, influence IPs. They might take it away for this new venture and try to invest it in good games and such. I will assume there is something that is going on there, trying to see pick and choose which one it's better or less tainted of the IPs that they have at this moment. But yeah, if this negotiation in the backdoor happens, this deal will allow Tencent to own a stake in this venture, which basically it gaining more control of some of Ubisoft properties that are going to be chosen for this new venture, I assume, and boost its presence in the video games market outside of China considerably. And again, this is to a certain degree the Guillemot family trying to get some control of Ubisoft a little bit more what they had. Um, I I think they think that Ubisoft is still a salvageable company, but whatever they are trying to make it a insurance policy per se on making new adventure with Tencent and their money on new IPs. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. And again, as these deliberations are private, neither Tencent nor Ubisoft can confirm the possibility of new venture is real. Um, from Tencent, there is no comment on the matter whatsoever, but from Ubisoft, there is a Ubisoft representative only reference to the recent appointment of advisors to review and pursue various options to boost the company's value. Again, they are kind of a little panicking around there at that level of the company. That's why we see this Ubisoft representative refer to recent appointments of advisors to review and pursue various options to boost the company. Again, have something happen, they had to appoint new people to, let's see, review the assets of what Ubisoft have, and then the fact that they boost the company's value again. This is a justification for them to try and see what they can salvage from Ubisoft IPs. That's my perception, and then maybe we'll see a split on this new venture only with Tencent and some of the Guillemot family members making part of that board on that new venture with some of less tarnished Ubisoft IPs. Probably this is what's going to happen, and the rest is going to be dismantled basically from Ubisoft because it will not last that long after this new venture happened for sure. And then lastly, we got here the CEO of CI Games, which from the Lords of the Fallen remake, soft remake, let's say. I did see this. Oh my god, this poll that he made. Again, interesting the way they are going about it. Um, but yeah, basically, he made a poll in the fact that the question was in a medieval fantasy action RPG experience, what do you prefer to choose between? We will follow the final result. And again, the choices were between body type A, type B kind of a thing here, or type 1, type 2, male or female, none above. And of course, the basically 88.5 percentage of people voted male or female. And he follow up afterwards with a poll that said again over almost 50k votes, 88% said you prefer male female choice. As of players first studio, we will update Lords of the Fallen 2023 and future titles in the series accordingly. Stay tuned. Okay, so assuming that this is going forward, at least from the studio, there's going to be the directive that they are going to remove this body type A and body type B thing here, or 1 and 2, whatever you want to call it, which is a good signal that, again, I never saw the necessity of replacing the male or female stuff to body type A, type B. Again, because usually type A it's a male uh, body, and body type B usually is a female body. So I never saw the reasoning for that. Uh, I didn't like that. I never liked it in any kind of game, even in Elden Ring, as much good as the game is. I don't understand that. I think it has to do with the localization that they do. I'm not sure if the Japanese edition has this, or if something that is mandated, for example, from Bandai Namco or something like that, in the distribution part of things, and the fact that it's an international audience to try to appease the mob to put body type A and body type B. I don't know, but there are some Japanese games that are doing that, and I don't see a reason for that. There is no logical reason. But yeah, because again, you're doing RPG, you can supposedly choose whatever you want and feel good about it. But yeah, we got this supposedly going forward again, see a little bit normalcy in the gaming industry. They are starting baby steps, but they are will start to correct themselves into a little bit more normalcy here, which is always good to see. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here with some gaming deals. We still have Ghostwire Tokyo, 80% off. We got the Plague Tale Innocence still available. Again, as a bundle and as the first one, the Innocence one, we still have around a day and a half or so, so you still have time. For the Plague Tale Requiem, we still until almost by the end of the month to buy this game on 60% off. We got also Aliens Dark Descents, 55% off, which is always good to see. We got Dredge. This is the digital deluxe edition, is 40% off. I'm very curious about this game. We got also a new one, Crypt Custodian, enter on 20% off for the base game. On GOG, we got Children of Morta. This is the complete edition, is 72% off. We got Darkest Dungeon, the first game here, 85% off, so it's very cheap. There is other editions. The Ancestral Edition, I think, includes all the content that was post-launch, playable content that is. And yeah, it's a pretty long game, and if you like this kind of turn-based combat and exploration of dungeons and the such, I think you're for a good run with this game. Got also Firewatch. Again, it's got a stamp approval, especially at this price point, 80% off. It's not a very huge long game. I already did record the gameplay that I did for the Firewatch. And again, I usually give my thoughts on the final episode. But yeah, I do recommend this game at this price point. It's a pretty good narrative experience. We got also Shardpunk. I already did. I will eventually buy this one. I like the setting of this game, and you can get it now for 45% off on GOG. We got Spiritfarer Feral Edition. I also did a gameplay of the demo here, and it's 85% off. Again, on the demo, what you can see, it have a notion of what the mechanics are, and you got kind of what it seems like a little bit of a quest, so you can have an idea what this game is about. It seems pretty good, given that you can spend a lot of time on this game, it seems, and it's got pretty good feedback. So 85% off seems good to me. And then finally, we got Wartales, 40% off, kind of a Jagged Alliance kind of a game here. We've got a squad of mercenaries. You have to go through doing some missions, squad management, and all that jazz. Turn-based combat, medieval setting. It's always good to see a good game like this, and it's 40% off. So I will wrap up here with a plug on my Patreon for extra support. The extra support is more in line for me to get around and see if I can get a better storage solution so I can have backups of backups of the stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunami Master out.